Hello, welcome back to Oracle DBA tutorial. In this tutorial, we're going to take a look at how we are going to install Oracle database server on a machine. So it's a brief introduction of different types of Oracle installation. So let's say this is our installation type. So we can have Oracle in single instance. Single instance. So in single instance, we have one instance accessing one database file system. In other case, what we can have a clustering environment, clustered instance. So what is in a cluster instance, what we have is that we have multiple instances, say I1 and I2. They are accessing same database file, whereas in case of single instance, we have one instance I1 is accessing one database file. Okay, so based on these two different types, how how database is accessed by instance, we have two separate types of installation. One is single instance, another is clustered instance. So again, as you discussed before, that this database file system can be of cooked file system. That means we can install on the operating system files, or it can be of raw devices. So in case of raw devices, we work around, we get rid of operating system. Oracle kernel can directly talk to the raw devices. And number three is ASM, or automated storage management. So ASM is a 10G feature which started from 10G. So it essentially allows the instance to manage disk by itself. So ASM instance is going to manage the disk. So there are three different types. Again, like what we are talking about, that you can install single instance in three different ways. And then in every all of this, you can do one more round, that you can either install using OUI, or it's called Oracle Universal Installer. So the Oracle Universal Installer is a graphical user interface, or GUI mode, by which you can install, very much like you install Microsoft Word or anything else. So this wizard is comes up and then guide you through the steps of through the installation steps. So the equivalent of that thing in Oracle is OUI, or Oracle Universal Installer. Using OUI, you can install on a guided manner the complete installation. Or else what you can do, you can use something called silent install. So silent install is a command line tool. What you need to give, you need to give to the silent installer a bunch of parameters, like what is your database name, what is your data files, and so on. And then silent installer is going to install the database without asking any further question. So the difference between OUI and silent installer is that this is interactive and this is command line. Okay, similarly, like in the raw devices, you can also have OUI or silent install and all this thing. And again, in the OUI, you can do in two different ways, that you can either go install plus create database. So there are two steps involved. You first install the Oracle software. That means it will take the C files, it will compile and then make all this .a file and all this thing, and make the dynamic, the DLLs, which is called libraries, or in Unix it is called .so, that means shared objects. And then it is going to create the database. Two steps. So what you can do is, you can either do step 1 in interactive mode, that means you just do a software install, and then you invoke another tool called DBCA, or database creation assistance. Okay, so using DBCA tool, what you can do, you can create the DB. That means second step, what I'm talking here is that you can do both together on a UI interactive mode, or you do the software install and then invoke DBCA to continue doing. And remember, DB basically, the reason behind this DBCA and all those things, it gives added benefits, like you can create a template and you can create, you can delete a database and so on. So we'll see that in detail in our actual hands-on installation. And similarly, let's go about clustered instance. So cluster instance also required for you to install Oracle Grid environment. Okay, Oracle Grid environment. So that means some additional software which needs to be installed for cluster or ASM kind of storage. You need to have Oracle Grid environment installed. And besides that, you need to have cluster aware. Okay, so cluster aware software needs to be installed, and after that you can install the rack, or this is called a cluster instance, or popularly known as rack or real application cluster. So these are all different combinations, and believe me, these are not the only combinations. You can have also very detailed. If I go to raw devices, what kind of raw devices I'm going to do, and it's going to be another installation type. So what I'm going to do in this set of videos right now, I want to cover the basic things. That means I'm going to cover this part completely, and also I'm going to cover ASM, and I'm not going to cover anything on rack right now, because in order to install this rack, the installation is a little bit complicated, and also it requires specialized hardware. So I'm not going to cover it right now, but maybe in future I plan to have those big hardware where I can demonstrate you a real application cluster installation. But for time being, what we're going to do, we're going to concentrate mostly on the basic things, and I will just give that idea how to do, and then maybe I can teach you how to start with, and then we can cover the remaining. Okay, so after we understand what are the different scenario of installation, let's try to from where do I start. Okay, so the best answer to is go to Google and then choose Oracle 11G documentation. So the first hit is Oracle 10G, so you click on that. Right, so right now you are looking at the Oracle 10G documentation, and the first documentation is about installation and upgrading. So click on that. So you will see all the essential information regarding the installation. And as you know, Oracle is supported on different operating systems. So therefore, in the documentations they have given how to install on different operating systems. So the first one is about Linux installation guide. Similarly, they have given Microsoft Windows, Solaris, HP Unix, AIX, and then other supplementary installation guides that you need. So what I want to essentially show you, I'm going to show you the demonstration using Linux operating system. And the reason behind that, there is a lot of benefits to that, and also it's cheap to show us. Instead of going for a HP Unix or Microsoft Windows, Linux which is almost free. I can show on that with less cost incurred to me. Alright, so if you go to Linux installation guide, you'll see different guides. So which one I need to see? You need to see two things: the database quick installation guide and database installation guide for Linux. And this is for x86, that means it is for 32-bit operating system, and the next one is for 64-bit Linux operating system. Alright, so let's go and take a look at the quick installation guide. So this installation guide will tell you what you need to do to install Oracle software on Linux platform. So these are the key bullet points. Whatever is saying, you need to go one by one to this thing. So let's say, like, let's say for example, if you want to install, you need to first get the hardware, like, what kind of hardware you need. And if you click on that, it will tell you, is saying that, okay, you need a 1 GB of physical RAM machine. And also it take that how much swap space you need. If you have the memory between 1 GB to 2 GB, then all this separate things, it will tell you. And also if I go to top, it will say me, like, what kind of software requirements. That means, on that Linux operating system, what are different types of software, packages required, Linux packages. And then how do you, what kind of kernel parameters you need to have. Okay, so essentially what we are going to do, we are going to cover this thing in the next video, about how we get a machine hardware, how we get the software, and then how do you configure and make the machine prepared for a database server installation.